Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-ups.
So we brought our drum and this is how we dance. No mistaking, we make our breaks. If you don't like our 808s, then leave us alone, cause we don't need your policies.
So I read a total of, I think it was 7 books. Yes, I read 7 books this month, and I'm pretty proud of myself because last month I only read 3, but the month before that I read 7, so yeah. And since summer is almost here, I have 2 days of school left. Since summer is almost here, my summer goal is to read 20 books, and I'm going to be doing a summer TBR video to show you guys almost all the books I want to read in summer. So let's get on with it. The first book that I finished in May, which I finished the day it came out, was The Crown by Kira Cass. And I can't tell you how lovely this wrap-up was to the whole selection series that I have loved since, the beginning of 7th grade or 6th grade, one of those. But I love it. I love it so much. And I read The Heir right when it came out, and so I had to wait a long while for the Crown, but I love it. The only thing that I wish was different was that it was longer, because it's like 170 pages. It's really small, or maybe it's 270. It's 272. So it's really small. I wish it was longer because this is the wrap-up to the entire series that so many people love, and I wish you would have added a little more, like fill in the gaps kind of stuff, but I like how it ended. The next book I read was The Skin I'm In, and I read it on my Kindle. I was in this thing called Battle of the Books for my school, and so we had to read at least 2 out of the 6 books that were put up, and then we competed with them with these little buzzer things, and we were asked questions and we had to type in the answers. We lost, but it was still fun. But for Battle of the Books, I read 2 books, and Skin I'm In was one of them, and I actually really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's about 170 pages. It's really nice. It's about this girl in middle school who deals with racism, and she gets constantly teased, and then there's also, like, it's not only about racism, it's also so much more than that, because it's also things about finding your true self, getting away from bad crowds, sticking up for yourself, learning how to deal with certain situations, and there's so many other things that I love about it, and it's so, like, even if you don't kind of relate to something, you will relate to one other thing, because there's so many things that everyone can relate to. And personally, I related to something in this book, and I don't know, but I really liked it. The next book I read was The Wreckers, and I forgot who wrote it, but here you go. And it is a book about so first of all, there's this guy, and he and his father go sailing once a year because the kid wants to become a sailor, but his dad is trying to be like, oh, the life of a sailor sucks, like, you don't want that. And so they go on this ship, and then there's a shipwreck, and then they land on this island, and then on this island, people kind of raid ships, because there are shipwrecks all the time. And this island can't really grow food or trade, like, they're bad at everything. Like, they have no way to make money except for these shipwrecks. So there's a law that said if everyone died from the shipwreck, then they could loot the ship. And so that's kind of how everyone on that island has lived and has survived, and they're called the Wreckers. And some people on the island found it very unorthodox and very kind of not cool. But then there's also this clan that, like, will kill anyone that survived it just so they can loot. And so it's about this kid who survived it, and now he's being hunted, and it wasn't that good of a book. I didn't really like it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I probably should have given it lower. Yeah, I didn't like it. It wasn't cool. The next book that I read was The School of Death by Christopher Menino, and I loved this book. Like, I really, really loved this book, and the publishers were really nice, and I got it for review, but I loved it so much. Like, even, I gave my honest opinion, so I wrote a review on Goodreads, and if you guys don't want to check it out, I'll read it to you right now, because I actually think I wrote a pretty good review. I don't know. but I really loved the book, like, so much. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars because it was amazing. So let me read my review, and if you don't understand what it's about from the review, then I'll explain it. When I first heard about the School of Deaths, the thing that intrigued me the most was the use of Grim Reapers. Nowadays, we're used to authors using the same type of elements: fairies, vampires, witches, and werewolves. This book is a fresh and creative concept that introduces a new view on an old tale. It is rewriting the rules for Grim Reapers. The main character, Susie, is thrust into a world she doesn't understand and is immediately an outcast for being a female in a male world. We learn from the very beginning of this book that she is strong, independent, and determined to succeed even though all the odds are being stacked against her. Along the way, she happens to make some friends, but many enemies, and she discovers fragments of history that have been well hidden. It is an intriguing story that will keep you reading from the duration of the novel, and in my opinion, it's a mix between Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Harry Potter. I highly recommend it to anyone over the age of 12, and it is an enjoyable novel that leaves you wanting more. Sorry if I talked really fast, but that was my review on it. I really liked it. It's about this girl. If you didn't understand, she is a human, but then she starts becoming really, really skinny, and no one knows why. They think she's anorexic, but she's not. She actually eats a lot. And then a Grim Reaper shows up and then takes her to this world of Grim Reapers. And basically the deal is that you have a year of school there, and if you pass the exam, then you get to go home. But if you don't, then you have to stay there and be a Grim Reaper for the rest of your life. And basically no one passes the exams. Like, it's unpassable. And the funny thing is that only males are Grim Reapers. There hasn't been a girl Grim Reaper for centuries. And so Susie is the first not the first, she's the second girl in history, because the first girl, things happened, and so they never trusted another girl again to be a Grim Reaper. So everyone is not really nice to her, and so she has to find her way in this world that has no clue about, and then a lot of things happen, and it's really awesome. I really love it, and I really, really, really recommend it. The next book I read, which I also really, really loved, was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and this book is kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it has fairy elements, and I love it. It's just like there's the world of the fae, and I also loved how the map is, even though it's a fantasy map, it's the UK, so kind of that's the UK. I thought that was cool. I don't know. It's a cool kind of little twist. I don't know if anyone else realized it, but I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and it's about this girl named Feyre, and she kills this fae wolf, and she knew it was fae, and she hates them because those kind of fairies have ransacked her village, other villages, killed humans for fun, so she thinks. And so basically she is taken by this high fae named Tamlin, and she goes to the Spring Court, and basically she has to live out the rest of her days there in trade for stealing this life of a high fae. And so she goes there, and then she starts liking him, but then she finds out that there is this secret kind of evil that has been taking over the fae lands, and it is threatening the mortal human kind of area too. And so she has to find a way how to deal with it and save her sisters and her father. So I really liked it. It's fun, but the next book I liked better. So since I fall in love with books easily, I read A Court of Mist and Fury right after I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I finished this yesterday, so I finished it just in time to put on my May wrap-up. And I liked this better than A Court of Thorns and Roses, actually, but I gave them both 5 stars. I really liked this. Sarah J. Maas has won my heart again with these characters, and it's Feyre, but if you haven't read the book, I don't know. But it's Feyre again, and she has defeated the thing that was hurting the world kind of in the first book, and now she has to deal with her PTSD, and she deals with a lot of stuff, and then she she goes to a different court, and then stuff happens, and then there's another force that is kind of connected to the first force. I'm trying my best not to spoil it, like not to spoil the first book, but I love it. This one was so much better. I had a different ship in the beginning of this book. I was in love with 2 characters, but then, you know, stuff happens, and the true guy is revealed, and I don't like him. anymore. And so then this other character comes along, and then I like him and her together more. And if you read the book, then you know who I'm talking about. At least you should know who I'm talking about, because there's only 2. Okay. But it's the main... Oh my god, I'm trying so hard not to spoil this. But I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I'm just gonna stop now because I can't explain it more without spoiling it. But yeah. So those were the 7 books that I read in May. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Let's put this back.